So I'm working on my 97 Dakota right now. I noticed it had an exhaust leak. You could hear it when it fired up, coming out the right side of the engine. So thought I'd take a look at it, see what all happened. There was 2 bolts broke off towards the front of the engine. You could tell that by the way the heat shield was moving. It was not secure at all. So I went ahead and there's 2 more bolts in the back. You probably can't see it, not very good lighting. There's 2 in the back. Those came off pretty easy. But there's 2 that are stuck. Right there. And right there. So I've got them lubed up right now with some oil. And they're just sitting right now. Kind of lubing up. The worst part of the whole deal is we had to take the flange off. You can see it back in the back there. Had to take that off, and that was rusted on pretty good, but we just got an electric impact and it came off pretty easy that way. Well, as you can see here, we took the air filter off. Gives us a lot more room to work in here. And also took off a little fender well here. You see it makes it a lot easier to get to that with a drill. There's the fender well, air cleaner. Oh, scratch that. There's the manifold. Got a new gasket to put on that too. Well, I got torn apart, might as well. Then I'm gonna have to clean up them bolts, and we'll go from there. Get her back on. So I'm gonna do a little cleaning up, then get ready to drill that, and you guys know how that works out. It's a pretty common problem on these Dodges. That's what I've heard. Well, I got all new bolts for the manifold. However, I didn't get new bolts for the flange. So, like I said, I've been using that oil, penetrating oil. I've also heard that mixture of acetone, transmission fluid, works pretty good. So I just did a 50-50 mix of that in a Folgers can here. And I got my 2 flange bolts sitting in there soaking, trying to get that rust off before I put them back on. So I'll keep you guys updated on how that works too. I've heard this actually works better than any of the other ones combined, but we'll see. And I'm going to get ready to drill out the bolts with any luck. Alright, so here's day number 2 of working on the manifold leak here. Manifold's pulled off. Like I said, we pulled out the fender well plastic. So we can get in there a lot better now if you do that. First one here, this one had the bolt still stuck in it, broke off. We used an easy out and it worked pretty good on that one. Now we're over here on the other one and it's stuck, so I used some of that oil, penetrating oil, and it's been setting overnight. Haven't looked at it quite yet today, so we'll see how that does. Also, back here in the bed, I've got my bolts that I put in that little concoction of transmission fluid and acetane, and they seem to be working pretty good. They look pretty darn clean to me. So it's a little trick if you guys got that laying around, but have a rag too because it's automatic transmission fluid. But so I guess I'm gonna keep going and see where we can go from there. Alright, well, this one still won't budge, and I've actually got another easy out in there right now. Other than the one I used to begin with. Pull the other one out. It's drilled all the way through the back of the bolt, and still stuck, really not doing a whole lot. So next time here I'm gonna get a propane blowtorch, and I'm gonna heat up around it to see if we can get it to expand and contract a little bit, and hopefully break some of that rust loose on the bolt and get it out. So it's the next course of action. Gonna make sure I really clean this up with that oil being on there. That's really flammable, so we'll see how good I can do on that. I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, we're back under here again. Eventually got something to work over here on this side. Basically all we did was we took a bunch of drill bits, kept stepping up sizes until we got pretty dang close to the threads. We got real close to the threads, and then took a 5/16 tap and just tapped it in there even more. Can't really see very well without light. But yeah, we just ran a tap down in that and helped widen it up a little bit. Made sure I cleaned the rest of it off here. Still a little gunk here I need to look at getting. And then clean this side off. Again, a little bit more I need to get. So that'll make it cleaner to get that gasket on there. Here's the old manifold, or I guess we're going to reuse it. So make sure I got all this cleaned off too. And I got my new gaskets. Line up pretty good. And we'll go from there. So, yeah, let you guys know how it works out. So here we are with the manifold going back on. I got everything snugged up pretty well here. Right back here's the one stud that was still good. I put that in. Here's a new bolt. Here's this piece of all thread I'm using. I'll pan around and show you a little bit more here in a minute. And over here is another 5/16 bolt. It's just really weird through the dealer. The dealer, they gave me 2 bolts that were this long. And that's, I mean, there's no way that's going to go in there. So we got a little inch 5/16 bolt, put it in there. Tighten that up. I tightened it up, like started with this all thread, then went to here, then went to here, then went to here. You know, space them out. This all thread here is a little tricky. You run the all thread in, run one nut down, get it snug, run this other nut down, get it really tight on there. Once you get this nut tight on this nut, it'll move your whole all thread and it'll snug it up against it. Works pretty good that way. I'm doing another double nut here to put this heat shield on. This heat shield goes up right like that and ought to work pretty good. Be good having that back on there. So definitely suggest taking out this fender well here. A lot easier to get to it through the tire hub, and then take your tire off too if you have to. Gives you a lot of room to work. So gonna get it tightened up, put her back on. Gonna have to get this flange back on too. Call it a day, fire up, see how it does. While I was under the hood working on the manifold, I had to pull the airbox out. When I pulled the airbox out, found out why my horn hadn't been working. It actually just wasn't hooked up. So, you know, I had a little bit of time while we were letting everything soak, and I kind of just played around with it. I bought a Viper remote start kit over there. So I'm in a bunch of wires right now, I really can't see it. But it came with a siren. So I kind of got a little creative and picked out a new horn sound. It'll scare some people going down the road at least.